Hello, 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 hello. Hi there, everybody. I hope you're having a great night. I want to talk about dreams tonight. You know, there was a real famous song called Somewhere Over the Rainbow. That might not be the name of it, but let me give you a couple of bars of it. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dream of really do come true. So that's the end of my serenade tonight. The reason I mention dreams and rainbows is because everybody likes to dream about rainbows. I don't know anybody that really doesn't. And if we didn't have our dreams, what would we have? Nightmares? Maybe some of us. But we all need to dream. What's another song? Dream a Little Dream of Me. I don't know how many songs I could think of with the word dream in it, but I'm sure there's hundreds probably. But nevertheless, we've just yesterday and over the weekend celebrated the end of wars, of, let's say, the Civil War, the War of 1812, the wars with the American Indians. I know I'm going back. And they're all bad, because generally our side is fighting to help people be free and to be able to do the job that they would like to do, if they're so inclined and if they have the talents to do that. And I don't want to minimize that at all. The women, we had a fight for women's right to vote, and like I said, the Civil War. And now it seems we're having a war on progress. Yet there are people out there, and I know quite a few, who have wars going on inside. And when I say that, I mean they are at odds with something that has almost crippled them, but not quite. I have known probably 10 people in my recent years who are bipolar. And bipolar, when I say that, I'm talking about someone who has emotional problems sometimes, but it's caused by a chemical imbalance in their body. Now, I have to tell you, the people that I have personally known have been actually close to genius level as far as intelligence goes. And I've told them that. And that doesn't stop them from having an episode where they're not feeling well. Some of them have gone on to have great jobs. But the way they did that was to go get some emotional help and physical help, because it is a physical disability. It's not their fault that they can't function like, let's say, everybody else, but you can't really say it's that. It's close to that, but not exactly. The people whom I've known have been, like I say, close to genius level. And they've held jobs. And I'm talking good paying jobs. You know, not just mom and pop store type of stuff. But there's nothing wrong with mom and pop type store either, because we've needed many of those to get through all the hard years that some of us have gone through. So, everybody is human, no matter if you've been through a war or not. Sometimes we go through our own wars with ourselves. Maybe we're upset about something and can't figure out how to solve the problem. But that's okay. Somebody will be around to help you shortly. It's probably your turn next. I'm making light of that, but I think you understand what I mean. And no man, no woman is an island. There's someone out there who can help you. If you have emotional problems, or if you have reality problems, or if you're bipolar, or something like that. There is help. Do not give up. Sometimes it's a matter of getting to the right doctor and getting the right medication, because not everybody can take the same medication. There are times when maybe you need a little bit more of your medication because you're nervous or in a situation that you're not sure how to handle. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with going to a doctor and getting some medication to handle something that you're not sure about. But go to your regular doctor first and get a recommendation from him or her. And check in with your mental health facilities in your county or city or state and see what programs are available. Because there are many things that, we go through a lot of problems in our lifetime. And not all problems are the same. They're not solved the same way, and they're not the same thing, simply because we're all different. Now, that doesn't mean that if you can't find a doctor, give up. No, you keep looking. Keep looking. Like I said, I've known people who have had this disorder, and they've gone to their doctors, they've gotten more help, and they've told a couple other people that they're fairly close to that they were bipolar. And there are lots of things in this world that we all need help with. So do not give up. Some of these people that I've known have been hilariously funny. And like I say, genius level intellect. And surprised the heck out of me, I tell you. Really did. So, we go through things in life, like when I was 12, and I won't delve into this too much, but when I was 12, my mother passed away from cancer. And as an only child, I was really lost for a very long time. And I didn't know what to do. This was my first year of junior high school in Baltimore City. And it was also the year that we had integration into the schools, where the blacks came into the schools that had been all white. Now, I know that's a stretch from what we were talking about, but it was a hard thing for me to go through. Now, for me to say to you that it was hard is something. Because everybody on both sides was afraid of what was going to happen. We didn't know if we were going to have riots. We didn't know if we were going to have fights or anything else. There was just no way to know that. We were hoping that we got a good bunch of people in there, and we did by and large. I don't remember any real fights that year. There might have been a couple, but nothing really bad happened. And I think it was because everybody was paying close attention to what was going on with the kids in the school. And apparently they were all well-meaning and, good people, which is just what we needed. Good people in the school. Not that there weren't already, but we needed more. You always need more good people around. You know that. But we all get stuck in some kind of situation once in a while where we're not sure what to do or how to go about finding new friends or how about finding help. And sometimes you can go to your pediatrician, at least nowadays you can. Then it wasn't quite so easy as it is today. Today we're more cognizant of emotional issues and things of that nature. And it took me a long time. I did graduate from that junior high school, went on to high school, and graduated from high school. And after that I had wanted to go to college. But you know how some fathers just say, no, you don't need college. You're going to get married and have babies. Well, that's what my dad said. And that's what happened. And then 7 years later, I was divorced with 2 children, great kids, and an ex-husband who wouldn't support me or the kids. Never knew a reason why. He walked out, and I didn't see him again for years. But that's what happens sometimes. You're in a situation where there's not much you can do to control it because, you have to do, and I had to do the best for me. Whether you're emotionally challenged or not. Women sometimes find themselves in a situation where they're the breadwinner. And sometimes it's tough. I have to tell you, I painted houses. My ex and I had a construction business at home. And I did the books and stuff like that, and he went out and did the work. And that was the deal that we had. And when it didn't work any longer, he left. No excuses, no nothing. Just left. So that was another chapter of my life. It's been many years ago now. But you know what? I got through it. And I helped my kids get through it. And if it's ever a time when you need to tell your kids you love them, it's when you're going through tough times. Because that's what life is all about. A good mom or dad sticks around and they make sure that their kids are brought up right, and they support them, and they do whatever they can to make the world right for these kids. And hopefully the kids grow up to love and respect the both of you. Sometimes it's not so easy when you have somebody that walks away. And that's where the road gets a little tougher. That's where you need the dreams and the bluebirds. And that's where you need to step back. Like I said over the weekend, step back. Take stock of your lives. Take stock of your kids. What are your kids doing? Are they successful? Do they feel successful? Do you feel successful? If not, what's stopping you from feeling successful? Our dreams change as we mature, as most of you know. And, we gather information much more readily today than we did, say, 10 years ago even, because of the internet and because of TV shows and because of sometimes good publications, good reliable publications that tell you the truth. And I've talked about some of those publications. I've talked about who controls the news, and sometimes the editors will say, no, I don't want you to do that story today. Hold that off till next week or whenever he wants or she wants you to publish it. Because that's how newsrooms work most of the time. Not all the time, because it depends on who you're working for. If you're working for a newspaper, that's one thing. If you're working for, let's say, a TV news channel, that's different because their process is different in giving information out and making sure that it's correct. And, you know, of course, we've got all this change up happening in the election and people trying to tell us that we can't vote. People saying, well, here's your ballot, go ahead and vote. Do it. You get a ballot in the mail, you send it away, and you send it to the person, you know, to your precinct, wherever it is, to your post office, and let them send it to where it's supposed to go. Don't forget to vote this year. It's more important than it has ever been in anybody's life that's living today, honest to God. So, you know, that's something that I hope you all do, because it's needed. You know, our dreams for a better country and for equal pay and equal rights, we've still got a way to go, baby. We really do. And that includes getting everybody's input that we could possibly get towards a progressive government, not a repressive government. We would be progressive to help everybody get fair pay, be treated fairly at the banks. Companies who don't pay their bosses millions of dollars and then don't let the first line, don't give them a raise. That's not right. You know it's not right. I know it's not right. We've got to convince more people that it's not right. And I know the first responders and all those people who've been called in for extra duty and the nurses and doctors at the hospital, you know, everybody's got to be treated right. And that's what I'm all about. It really is. Because if you can't treat each other right, then you're treating each other wrong. It's black and white. Now, I don't mean race-wise. I mean it's black. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And that's for any color person or any nationality. You can't tell me that somebody over in Africa feels a different loss than somebody here in our country if they've been maligned by the police departments or politicians who have just taken all the rights away from them. They feel the same. We all breathe the same air. We eat some of the same kinds of food. The food comes out of the earth. Yeah, we're going to eat it. If there's a cow and everybody's hungry, they're going to kill the cow, unfortunately. But I hope they've made more cows than just the one, because otherwise they're going to be real hungry. And I'm not trying to be smart. You all, if you know anything by now, you know I'm not. I'm not trying to be a smart ass. But life is unique to each one of us. You control what you do, and everybody else in your family controls what they do. If you got a strong dad or a strong mom, sometimes they control it. And sometimes it's a really good idea to listen to them. Now, having said that, nobody is right all the time. And that's only because we're human, not because we're never right. You know, you might have a problem with something and talk to dad about it, and he says one thing and mom says something else about it. Well, how can you mesh those two suggestions together? Sometimes you can't. Sometimes there's no easy answer. And when you get to that point, you need to stop and listen to what's inside your heart and your parents' heart. And at some point you're going to have to make decisions on your own, whether you're 10 or 15 or 25 or 35. You have to listen to in here. And you have to decide what's right and wrong for you. I know sometimes we get in sticky situations and it's hard to get out of them. But if you're in something like that, take your time. Make sure that you're safe and get out of it any way you can. That's safe for you and hopefully safe for the other person. Because two wrongs don't make a right. You know, if you've got somebody beating you, beating that person is not always the right thing to do. But if you're afraid for your life, run. Don't walk, run. You know, I never know who's on the other end of the line here. But I've known people who were in finicky situations where they were in danger. And if there's anybody out there tonight that's in a situation like that, I want you to seriously think about leaving the quickest and safest way you can get out of there. Because your life is important. Especially if somebody's been abusing you. So I'm just here to tell you, your life is worth something. You are worth something. You are a worthy person. Just because somebody has abused you doesn't mean you're wrong. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. It means they're the bad person. Like I said before, we all have music in our lives sometimes that helps us. And if you want to dream about bluebirds and rainbows, do it. Nobody can get into your dreams unless you let them. Don't let somebody else give you bad dreams. Get away from that person. Go ask a neighbor for help if you have to. Ask a policeman for help if you have to. Don't hesitate to get into a safe place. Because wars have been fought over stuff like that. Lots of wars where someone was being abused. But there are better days ahead. You know, there really are. And we learn in life who to trust and who not to trust. Sometimes we make a mistake. But we learn from those mistakes. And, you know, years ago they wouldn't let women vote. You know, the guys thought, oh, all women are good for is making babies. Well, guess what? They're wrong. They're wrong then, and they're wrong about that now. Look at Elizabeth Warren. She's a smart cookie. Really smart. So is Stacey Abrams. Really smart. Camille Harris. We've got some strong women out there. If you don't know who they are, look them up. Google them. See what their background is really like. You know, our life is dependent on what we research at this point. In this day and age, online research can save your life. Because it can point you who to get in touch with. You know, we all need love. We all need touchy-feely. We all need to be respected as a good person. We need to respect ourselves. Sometimes it takes a little while because maybe you're in a situation where you're not sure of, but we need to respect ourselves and the people that help us. And don't forget to respect the people that help us. Because we're talking real life every day. You generally won't hear any music or cymbal crashing here on this video, because that's not what we do. I try to talk common sense and help people out. And that's why I'm here, to help. If you want to email me or Facebook me to talk to me, that's fine. You can do that. Because I've decided that that's my life's work at this point, is helping other people. You could call me a spiritual coach, because I coach from inside, from what's inside, from what's inside and the goodness in here. That's where all this comes from. And I'm hoping that, I know it's needed. I'm just hoping that the people who need the help are tuning in. You know, we all need help sometime. We all need to be praised and say thank you. I love you. I appreciate what you do. And we need to say those things to other people who are helping us out. Because it goes both ways. Sometimes, if you have a pet, that pet helps you tremendously, because they can't talk to us. All they have is their sensory sessions. And that, when you're looking at your dog's eyes or your cat's eyes, they're into you. They are tuning into you like you don't even know. Because they have this animal instinct, and the animals have been around long enough now that they are invaluable to us as pets and our emotional well-being. Some children who have been sick for a long time have special pets. Maybe the kids have special needs. But if they've got a kitty that they really love, that kitty knows them. And that kitty knows about that child and that child's body. I once had 2 cats, and I had a bad habit of snoring. And I woke up one morning with one was a tuxedo cat, and the other was just a regular striped cat, orange striped cat. I wake up, and my tuxedo cat was laying across my throat with his belly right on my throat. Well, the only thing I could figure is I must have been snoring really bad that night, because I wake up and my cat's stretched all across my neck. So of course I had to wake up when he did that. But he was a real sweet cat. But cats know, and so do dogs. I was working for a pet food company a number of years ago, and I was selling dog food. And it was a national brand. And I was sitting in one of the pet stores, and a lot of people would come in and they would bring their dogs and cats with them. And of course I used to like that, because I didn't have any animals of my own at that time. So I was sitting down one day just kind of watching the crowd go by, taking a break. And this little white dog, and he was all of about maybe 2 foot long and, maybe a foot high, something like that. He wasn't very big. He was sitting on a chair across from me, across the aisle. And he looked at me this way, and he looked at me that way, and he jumps down on the floor, and he comes running up to me and jumps in my lap. Now, I hadn't done anything to get the dog to come to me, because I was waiting to see what reaction the dog would have. If I didn't move, if I just smiled at him. Well, I was amazed. And he sat there for maybe a minute or 2, let me pet him a little bit, and then jumped down and walked back over and sat in front of me again. So animals know, they have a 6th sense about your emotions. They know if they can trust people. So if you have a dog or a cat in your life and they start to growl or hiss at someone, you pay attention to what that animal's doing. Because they can see things and they know things that we don't always pick up on. So you really, if you've got a dog that's doing that or a cat that's hissing at someone, they don't like that person. And there's a reason, because they're picking up on sometimes ulterior motives. I had an aunt who one time had a pet pig. And I don't remember what the pet pig's name was or anything like that. But she had a pet pig. And she would bring that pet pig everywhere she went. And it was just a fleeting memory. But the pig liked people. And she would go up and nuzzle you and kind of lean up against you, the way the dogs and cats do sometimes. But the poor pig's been gone for a long time now. But that was just a slight remembrance that flew through my head. So yeah, people can have pigs as pets. There's probably a lot more of them now than there used to be. And I would even encourage people, if you have a small piece of property, to get a cow. Get a mother cow and her baby. And just keep them as pets. Because the things that those cows have to go through when they go to a slaughterhouse, it's hell. And when those calves are taken from those mother cows, she goes through agony. Even animals go through agony when they're separated from their families, from their cows, whether it's horses, a mother horse and a colt or a filly. They have feelings about their families. And when you have a feeling like that about somebody in your family, I urge you to pay attention to it, whether it's a pet or if it's a family member. There are times when people have said, I've got to call my grandmother. I need to call my grandmother. So I have to stop and do this right now. And when they did, they were so glad they called her, because maybe she'd just fallen. Maybe she had a roaring temperature. So when you get a gut feeling like that, I want you to listen to it, because we only live one time. That's all we live. So we need to make it count. If you're worried about somebody who's a friend of yours and you haven't heard from them for a while, call them up. Because that's what we're all about. We need each other. We need each other to sing to each other. We need to say, it's going to be all right. I'll help you out. I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be there tonight. I'll be there now. Give me 10 minutes and I'll be there. We need to be there for other people, just like other people are here for us. Now that's not a dream. That's a reality of life. If you dream of having more friends, then you have to be more friendly to other people, generally speaking. If you're dreaming of rainbows, maybe you like to sing. Maybe you'd like to sing about rainbows over the mountains. What was the Sound of Music? It was one of my most favorite movies ever. And I was probably 14 years old when I saw that. And I can remember Julie Andrews when she was in that movie, and she was just perfect. And Christopher Plummer. If you ever get a chance, watch that movie. It will inspire you to no end. So look for things that inspire you. Look for things that make you happy. Look for good things. Look for good friends. Make yourself available to be a friend to somebody else. Maybe doesn't have as much as you do or has been sick, you know. I'm not talking COVID because we know how wicked that is. But when you go to the store, put a mask on. Don't give a guard a hard time if they say, "Where's your mask?" Just don't do it. You're protecting yourself and you're protecting other people by wearing a mask. I don't like it. Makes it hard to breathe with a mask on. But I do it out of respect for other people. So that's pretty much what I've got tonight for you folks, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, if you want to get in touch with me, just get me on Facebook, send me a message, and I'll get back to you. So you all have a great night, and have a great day tomorrow. And so long, folks. Thank you. Bye-bye.